It's not just radio, it's Rockland World Radio. RocklandWorldRadio.com.
Beer on ice, everything a man could desire. This side of paradise, it's a beachcomber's life. It's a beachcomber's life. I live beside the sea. Ready? Good evening, here I am, Preston Pepper. I'm finally back. I'd been threatening to do this for a long time, but certain events had made it difficult. The Liberals would not allow us to broadcast anymore from Nyack, and we cast about for a new place to present our program from, and we finally came up with a really beautiful place. Here I am, by the sea on lovely Devil's Island. There's no place quite like it in the whole world. In fact, the swirling surf and shark-infested seas, which once kept French convicts from escaping, now are proving themselves mighty handy at keeping the prying press away. We had to do it here. There was no other way. Members of the liberal media monopoly and certain members of my own beloved Republican Party were dead set on stopping this broadcast. Now I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to start off with a rhetorical question, and it's wonderful to be back here in front of the microphone again, talking to the people I love, the people of the United States of America, the people who are being sold out by not only liberals now, but so-called conservatives, blue dog Democrats who's taken over my Republican Party and are trying to cast it down, but I won't let them do it. Let me ask you a question. When a Tea Party jerk who's been married 5 times opposes gay marriage, I think, hey, Bubba, if you really hate gays, I would guess, based on your experience, that you would want them to get married. But not the case now in the Republican Party. Everybody is gay bashing, and it's not going to do us any good. Why is that? Because if you remember when I was broadcasting Pep Talk from Rockland World Radio's headquarters in the old Woolworth building on Main Street in Nyack, I said what we needed to do was to make certain changes so that things would stay the same. I didn't want us to move all the way to the right until we fell over the precipice. What we wanted to do, and I tried to get Karl Rove to understand what I was aiming for, was to feign a move to the center, but keep our feet firmly planted in good old conservative soil. But they didn't understand that. And now what do we have? A mess. They got slaughtered in the last election, and from what I can see, they're going to get slaughtered again. I mean, who do they have? Everybody thinks that they're presidential material. Ted Cruz, oh, come on. Ted Cruz reminds me of the kid who blew up the toilet bowl with a cherry bomb and tells his enraged mother, "It couldn't have been me. I was here alone all day." That's the kind of guy we've got. There's no integrity. There's no empathy. I, on the other hand, exude empathy. I know how to talk to the people of America. I know how to stick out my hand. I know how to pump a little flesh. And I know how to say, my name's Preston Pepper. I'm running for President of the United States. Yes, I'm running for President of the United States, and I'll get back to that in a minute. What do you need? I'm going to give him one of my cards. I got a hell of a card, as you recall. And fortunately, it intimidates them so much that rarely do they call me back. But if they did, they know they would get Preston Pepper's answering machine. Nobody is going to be cheated of that little delight. Anyway, the Republican Party now has become a party of clowns. None of these people are fit for the job of being president, and that's why I decided that I'm going to launch my own campaign. I am going to run as a Republican, but not as one of these big wig Republicans. I am going to run as a small R Republican to do honor to the memory of my friend, Rory Cripps. We all remember Rory Cripps. He was a member of the team, you know. He drowned when his house went underwater. We tried to find him, but we couldn't find Rory. Rory was the only member of my team, in fact, who was a legitimate small R Republican. The rest of them, and I loved them like sons, Steve and Brent and Brad and Richard and the whole gang were reclaimed Democrats. But Rory was the real deal, and he'll be missed every day except when it's time to fill out a paycheck, but that's another story. Anyway, I got a call from Sarah Palin, and I'm bringing this up because I want to tell you something. I am sick and tired of holding the hands of all these jerks in my own party who aren't good for anything. Sarah calls me up and she says she's afraid that if her talent is acknowledged posthumously, she won't know how to deal with all the attention. Can you believe that? How do you feel if you're a Wall Street lawyer with an Ivy League education and you've got to play up to these type of people all day? You got to listen to her blabbing about God and the end of days, and you know you're not even going to get a blowjob. How are you supposed to deal with this? What we need is somebody with the know-how, me, somebody with the integrity, me, and somebody with the empathy that can lead the Republican Party back to the White House. You know, I have been getting a lot of letters recently, and I would like to share some of these letters with the people out there. There's some interesting ones. You know, here's one that somebody says, I'd rather be a boy who never grows up than a man who was never a boy. For the joys of childhood. These people just love me. The only way to get people to read is to ban books. I've said that many times, too. Let's see what else we've got here. What I hate about today's political situation is that I have to vote Democrat because I believe in evolution. Isn't that the saddest thing you've ever heard? Isn't that the saddest thing you've ever heard? I mean, how can it be that for so many years this party has embraced social Darwinism and yet we don't believe in evolution? It makes us look like fools. When I was over in England and Scott Walker punted on evolution, do you know how I felt? I was there. You know, I'm the Laird of Dundeel. I don't have the hat today. It's in the dry cleaners. But I was sitting there in London at an exclusive club, and, you know, I was talking to a very good friend of mine, Mr. Boris Johnson, who was the Lord Mayor of London, and he said, Pep, who are these idiots? I mean, you know, I'm as conservative as the next man. I love throwing orphans and widows out in the street, but I believe in evolution. I said, I know, Boris, it's very difficult to explain what goes on in my country. He said, why do you want to go back, Pep? I mean, we just made an offer to Mr. Bloomberg to take over for me when I step down from this job. Why don't you become mayor of London? And I was thinking, it's not a bad idea. I mean, being mayor of London might have certain advantages. You meet a lot of great people over there. You know, in fact, one of my neighbors in London, Keith Richards, just fell out of that tree over there, you know, and I tell you, he keeps falling on his head. He's okay. You know, Keith and I share an interest in acting, by the way. You know, Keith was telling me, I love Keith Richards. He's such a wonderful guy. He says to me, you know, Pep, you know, I'm considering playing an important role in a new movie. And I said, Keith, what are you going to be in? And he says, Pep, you know, it's a remake of the portrait of Dorian Gray. And I said, well, what part would you have? He says, I'm playing the portrait. You know, I cannot think of a better man to play the portrait in the portrait of Dorian Gray than Keith Richards. I mean, he could just do it acting naturally. That is the kind of man, you know. But getting back to what I was talking about, can you believe what I've got to put up with in my own party? People who don't believe in evolution. People who want to persecute gay people. Meanwhile, we've got a big problem with what I call being lovable. We may win elections in the state legislatures and even in Congress, but we have become totally unlovable. I mean, who could love a Republican? Certainly, it would have to be another Republican, and most probably they would have to be on some kind of controlled substance. Sometimes I wonder why there are any Republicans are even left. I mean, who would want to fuck one? That's the kind of thing we are going to have to deal with. And that's why I've decided to come back and start my own Republican Party in the tradition of Teddy Roosevelt and people like that. People who are ready to step up there and do what's needed to be done to save America's integrity. We're the laughing stock of the world now, people are saying. We used to really like your country, but, now we have serious doubts. All the jerks in my party want to do is start another war with Iran. I said, come on. Why do you want to start a war with Iran? If we can live with Texas, we can live with Iran. Boy, did that get Rick Perry steamed, But I said, come on, Rick, take it easy. I've done you plenty of favors, and, Rick's not too smart. I must admit it. Rick Perry called me up last year, and he said, Pep, I'm really angry. And I said, why are you angry, Governor? And he said, well, look, I just bought reading glasses, and I still can't read. That's another one. I mean, and then there's Mark Rubio. He wants to be president. I mean, really, my team, I called up Steve, the truck-driving son of America, and I said, Steve, I need you guys to do an assessment of Mark Rubio's potential to sit in the Oval Office, and I needed ASAP. 2 hours later, I got a phone call from Steve, who was running his route out in St. Louis, and he said, Pep, we've completed the study you asked for, and as far as we can make out, the only thing that Rubio brings to the table is that he can always get Ricky Martin tickets. I mean, is this somebody you want in the Oval Office? I don't know about that, but it's going to be tough. Meanwhile, Hillary is probably going to be the runaway favorite in the Democratic Party. She's got the money. She's got the name. In fact, she's only got one thing going against her, and that's the American people's short attention span. Try saying her name. Hillary Rodham Clinton. That's a lot of syllables, whereas our candidate's Ted Cruz. Mark Rubio. A little shorter, it might help us out, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Personally, the big boys on Wall Street really don't care anyway if she gets elected or Jeb Bush gets elected, because you know what's going to happen. All the kooks are going to make a big fuss and a lot of noise, and then they're going to get washed away by Wall Street money, and Jeb Bush is going to go up against Hillary Clinton. And to tell you the truth, Hillary will probably win because of two things. She can admit that she believes in evolution, and she doesn't have to get all worked up if her hairstylist wants to marry his boyfriend. And that's what America has come to. It's a sad state of events, but I guess we deserved it. All I know is I don't hear the liberals saying that God created the tornadoes because people in Nebraska live on farms and have sexual relations with their livestock. This is the kind of thing we got to get past. We've got to go back to the days when we were responsible type of people like Eisenhower, Nixon, and these kind of people. And that's what old PEP stands for. I'm really happy I'm here in the beach now, and I think we're going to start doing more of these shows from Devil's Island. The guy who owns it, the island bears his name, has lent it to me. I met him, at a satanic AA meeting. You sell your soul and you get sober. That was the only way I could get off the booze after that misadventure I had with Ann Coulter, and we've been close ever since. I think I told you last year on Pep Talk, the devil almost went broke. He'd been paying too much money for souls, and he had to call in Goldman Sachs, and They came up with a rescue package, but they wanted him out. They were going to install, Tony Blair as the new devil, and he came running to old Pep. And I said, you got a lot of real estate that's undervalued. We're not out of this yet. But that's another long story. Anyway, I want to make this a short show today. I am going to try to keep my shows a little bit more compact because I was told by people, Pep, the American people, thanks to the liberal media monopoly, have a very, very short attention span. So I'm going to leave you with these words. God bless us, everybody. I love you, and you can count on old Pep. I will be running for president. Enough with this silliness in Nyack and mayoralty of Upper Nyack. I'm going for the big prize. I got the team. I'll get the money. And I'm going to make sure that America gets well. Good night.
Red stripe beer on ice, everything a man could desire. This side of paradise, it's a beachcomber's life. It's a beachcomber's life. I live beside the sea in a driftwood shack. I comb the beach all day for a brick of crack. I catch myself a fish if I want for a snack. It's a beachcomber's life, baby. Some men spend their whole lives searching for eternal truth, growing old before their time, looking for the fountain of youth. It's a beachcomber's life I want, baby. I want a beachcomber's life, baby. I live beside the sea in a driftwood shack. I comb the beach all day for a brick of brack. I'll catch myself a fish if I want for a snack. It's a beachcomber's life, baby. Every night is a party without end. I want it to last forever, and so do all of my friends. It's a beachcomber's life. It's a beachcomber's life. You live beside the sea in a driftwood shack. You comb the beach all day for a brick or brack. You catch yourself a fish if you want for a snack. It's a beachcomber's life, baby. Fade to black.
It's not just radio, it's Rockland World Radio. RocklandWorldRadio.com